What is up, guys? Hope you're doing well. Today we need to talk about Polestar and what is going on with the stock price. We have seen some strong selling pressure this week, so I want to get into why this is happening and what my plans are going from here. The video will not all be bearish though. I do want to also share some positive updates from late this week, so make sure to watch through the end to know the latest on Polestar. Now, if you guys like these videos, please drop a big thumbs up on the video and consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help the channel get this video out to other investors. And with that being said, let's get started with today's video. So the first thing I want to go over is GGPI's price action for this week. We are down over 4%, down to 10.55 as of Friday. Now, we did get a spike in volume, but I'll go further into volume in just a bit. Now, if you guys have been watching my other Polestar videos, you guys would know that I did see a potential head and shoulders forming here. And unfortunately, on our last trading day, we did break this neckline here. So we do have technically a head and shoulders pattern. And since breaking the neckline, you can see a spike in selling pressure. Now, the estimated downside from our head and shoulders pattern is usually the distance of the head. So as you see, I measured the distance of this head, copied it down here. So I do expect us to come down to this buy zone around $10.20 and $10.25. Which would make sense because we also do have a pretty nice monthly support here. Switching to the 1 hour time frame, you do see there is a demand zone right here as well. So that will be around $10.45. This will be an area where buyers start to step in. But in my opinion, I still believe there is a little more downside down to about $10.20. So this will be an area where I'll definitely be watching. After that, I don't really see too much more downside just because we are still pre-merger. So the bottom line is usually about $10 per spac. So the shorts are really playing with fire at this point. But if we do go down there, we do have another demand zone down around $10.10 and then $9.95. So those will be a few different levels to watch. After we broke the neckline, we did get a spike in volume, guys. Unfortunately, this all does look to be selling volume. And then towards our demand zone, you can see that we did get a green candle, which basically confirms buyers did start stepping in. You guys know that I've been talking about we need more volume. On average, we've been doing 2 to 3 million volume, and today we got 6. So I ended up looking a little further into this, guys. So with the rise of volume but the stock price going down, I figured this would be related to some shorting, especially with the current market conditions. I figured shorts were taking advantage of it. If you take a look at Friday's action, they doubled their short volume. Just on Thursday, they shorted over 600,000 shares. But on Friday, they outdid that number. They did 1.2 million shares just on Friday. So that volume is on a day-to-day basis, guys. The overall short interest float is almost 7% of the entire free float shares. Not to mention they do have some dark pool activity, with the dark pool activity going to 1.2 million shares and a total short volume ratio of 32, almost 33%. So obviously the stock is being shorted pretty heavily. But it is not all bad news, guys. I haven't really shared with this in some of my videos yet, but as far as last week and this week, there has been some institutionals stepping in. Sometime last week, Magnetar Financial acquired almost 4 million shares, guys. That is equivalent to $40 million. That is a pretty good amount of money invested into Polestar. Now, Magnetar Financial might sound familiar, and that's because they're actually one of the early investors in Lucid. Now, they did sell most of their position after the lockup, but they took a huge amount of gains from it. So I think they see similar upside with Polestar. Them acquiring a decent sized position, they could see similar upside as Lucid. As far as time frames, that would be hard to tell, but Magnetar was early into Lucid, and so I think the same things could line up for Polestar. There's a few other decent sized positions throughout the week as well, but the most recent one is Goldman Sachs. On Thursday, they picked up 52,000 shares. These appear to be call options equaling to about $500,000. So pretty good institutional activity in these last 2 weeks. The green indicates the new positions being opened. The red shows all the positions being closed by institutions. So from the list, you can see a lot of institutions are loading up while the price is cheap, and not many positions are being closed, guys. So that also helps dictate that a lot of the volume most recently has been from short sellers, or it can be from retail selling, but in my opinion, that is very unlikely. And then the most significant position open in the last 2 weeks is definitely that Magnetar Financial. So definitely take note of that position. So let's move over to some more positive news, guys. I want to touch base on a few different articles. This is going to help us reiterate why we are investing in Polestar. We've already covered the news about 29,000 units in 2020 2021. We also know about their projections to sell 65,000 vehicles in 2022. But something that I may have not noted to you guys in the videos is that this is taking into account chip shortages. You guys know that the chip shortage problem has been a problem in the automotive world. So for them to confirm 65,000 vehicles taking into account the chip shortage is actually a bigger statement than I initially thought. Initially, I thought the 65 would not be possible because I was thinking about a chip shortage possibility, but since they've already added that into their projections, that is very bullish in my opinion. So based off of those projections, we are still expected to break even by 2023, selling an average of 100,000 units plus per year. So breaking even and turning profitability will definitely be a big milestone. The last thing on this article that I want to cover is that they do have plans to create an additional European plant that will help with some of the production of their later Polestar models. As you guys know, their next step is to launch the Polestar 3 at Volvo's plant in Charleston, South Carolina. Taking a quote from one of their interviews, "In the future, we will have US production in South Carolina, starting with the Polestar 3. As our lineup grows, we will go into Europe because we want to have production in all three major regions. Therefore, we will not end up being China dependent with our production." So that is showing us they are taking steps to move away from China dependency. Hopefully with the shift to more US and European production, this does cut down on China production and hopefully opens the door to more US investors, since that has been one of the bigger concerns when investing in Polestar. Moving over to some more recent news, this was posted just a few days ago. We learned that Polestar will be opening a showroom in Midtown Tampa. This will be Polestar's first space in Florida and is scheduled to open in early 2022, where they're going to feature 3 fully electric vehicles on display. Polestar's focus on sustainability fits perfectly at Midtown Tampa, where Polestar vehicles can be plugged into our existing electric charging stations. That's telling us Florida is already building out their electric vehicle infrastructure, and people living in Florida are already open to the idea. So I do think Florida will be a big state for electric vehicles. One interesting fact is that Polestar Midtown Tampa is owned by Danny O'Malley. He is actually also the owner of Volvo Cars in Tampa. So I think this can help drive up some of the Polestar sales. Now, it won't be by a big margin, but let's take for example, one of the customers goes into Volvo. They're looking for a particular model, but none of them really fits the customer. Then the salesman can actually direct some of that traffic over to Polestar Tampa and maybe end up buying a Polestar. So that can actually work both ways before the customer actually goes and buys to a different dealership. Once the showroom opens in the second quarter of 2022, potential Polestar owners will be able to visit the Midtown Tampa to check out the vehicles, customization, and packages. All the sales will be handled online and are completely tailored to the individual preferences. So this will be a nice place to go check out the vehicle in person and see if it's something that you would like to purchase. If they do end up purchasing a vehicle, the vehicle is expected to be delivered in about 2 weeks after their financing is secured. And just to give you guys an update of our Korean market, I talked about that in our last Polestar video. They already sold over 2,000 units in the first 2 hours of pre-order. So that is incredible, guys. It's definitely showing a lot of interest and momentum in the Korean market. So hopefully we get more updates as time develops. Also in that video, I did talk about the safety rating that Polestar received. They actually made the list of the safest new cars in 2022. They were one of 5 cars on this list. They got the adult occupant protection rating of 92%, child occupant protection of 89%, vulnerable road user protection of 80%, and overall safety assist of 85%. So Polestar is the first model from the EV brand to be tested against Euro NCAP protocols. It was commended for its impressive passive safety performance due to its excellent body structure and very effective restraint systems. I did compare some of the ratings across some of these categories for Polestar. They actually performed really good compared to the other 4 vehicles. I'll put the pictures on here, but they did really good as far as the adult occupation and the safety assist. Top 2 brands on this list were Nissan and Mercedes, and Polestar on average outperformed each of them in most of the categories, if not got really close to matching their numbers. So their safety rating is actually really good for their first full production vehicle. I'll wrap up this video with this last article from Top Gear, 10 of the best family-friendly electric vehicles to buy in 2022. So we won't cover too much on this article, I just want to skim through the top list. The number 1 spot went to Porsche Taycan, which is actually going to be Polestar's main competition once they release their P3. So for now, Porsche is holding the number 1 spot, but that can definitely change once Polestar gets more vehicle models out on the road. Number 2 and 3 spots went to BMW and Hyundai. Don't really care too much about Hyundai, but our beloved Polestar placed 4th on this list. We love Polestar 2 because it's handsome, the build quality will give Audi drivers PTSD, it's been designed to work seamlessly, it's got a well finished, practical, and drives pleasantly. Tesla ought to be paying attention, as should anyone else who fancies a slice of the electric future. So getting a little bit more recognition and exposure is definitely good, especially since we placed 4 out of top 10. I think that is a great start. And so talking about Tesla, they did place Tesla Model 3 in the 6th position. This is one of the pioneers in electric vehicles. While not without flaws, it is quite simply one of the most interesting, compelling cars in the world right now. So definitely a top contender and a very well established automaker, so not to be underestimated. So those were the 3 main vehicles I found interesting on the list. They also did place the Mach-E from Ford at number 8 spot, but you guys can take a look at this article in your free time. That is going to wrap up today's video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys are doing with your Polestar shares. There might be some more downside. I will definitely be on the sidelines watching to add more shares. And also, just for fun, if you were to buy a Polestar, what color would you choose? For me, it would definitely have to be that gunmetal gray. It looks mean, it will hide all the dirt, and it still shows all those body features and curves on the car. So let me know in the comments below your color. I hope you guys have a great day. I will see you guys in the next video, and as always, keep moving forward.